Okay, welcome to this SI joint and splits or hanumanasana class. We'll start with our 15 minutes or so of somatic work, and for our class today, you can be near a wall if you choose to invert, if you need that. Have a couple of blocks, that'll come in handy, and make sure you have a strap for binding forms if you need that. And we'll grab that, and we're going to start lying on our back. So you can come right down onto your back body, head down, feet planted, and you could put your hands on your two frontal hip points, the bony protrusions at the front of your pelvis, and feel into your pelvis. You could close your eyes here, take a moment to land and locate. Maybe you let your knees knock a little side to side. We're really going to put attention into our pelvis, our SI joints at the back, connecting our sacrum to our pelvic bones, our ilia. And you can close your eyes here and imagine there's a ball in between your belly button and your sacrum. And that ball is moved with your breath. So when you breathe in, it expands and gets a little bit fuller. And as you breathe out, it contracts in between your belly button and your sacrum. And during this class today, you can move that ball around into your hip joints. It's a full ball of nourishment, of space, of juiciness, of fluid. You can move that ball around to any place in your body that might feel pain or discomfort. And it can also be a breathing ball. And then we're going to bring attention to our hips, and without lifting your hips off of the ground, take your right hip up towards your right shoulder, so kind of jack your right hip up and let your left hip move to your left heel. So you're doing an up slip, down slip of your pelvis, and then switch sides so that your left hip pulls up. It's like you compress your left side there and lengthen your right side as your right side goes down. And it's almost like you're walking in place. You can go side to side. You might even, if you can reach, put your hands on your upper legs and press one hip away from you, one thigh bone, and then the other. Close your eyes and feel this up slip and down slip through your SI joint region and through both of your hips. If your sacrum is cranky, no need to be cranky back at it. Be a little gentle with your movements. And then come to the center, and we'll lift our hips a little bit off the floor. So just a couple of inches so your seat is off the floor. It's like a low, low bridge. With your right hip, can you drop it to the floor but keep your left hip lifted? And then make a big circle with your right hip. So it's like your right hip is a wheel. It goes down to the floor, jacks up towards your right armpit, up towards the ceiling, and then towards your right heel. And we're focusing on the right side of the pelvis, making a circular movement. Your left side might move, but really focus on a wheel happening through the right side. Noticing you'll get a little stretch through the SI joint and then maybe a little compress. Switch directions, pressing into your feet. One more beat. And then you can bring your pelvis to center so that you're fairly level to the floor. And then at your own time, plop it down. And then you can lift it up again and then plop it down. Like if there was any misalignments in your sacrum, you could just set the puzzle piece back in by lifting up and plopping down. Nice, we'll lift up, and then this time the wheel is in the left hip. So you're doing the wheel-like motion in the left side of the pelvis, dropping it down to the floor, up towards your armpit, towards the ceiling. And you might even close your eyes and with your breathing, really focus on sensations in the left side of your pelvis. There's very limited mobility in your SI joint, but there is some mobility. So you can switch directions, and you might be feeling a little bit of a stretch and a compress to that region, bordering the left side of your sacrum. And then you can come into the middle, and you can plop a couple of times. Lift up and plop. One more time. Nice. Bringing your right knee in towards your chest, hug it in. Stretch your left leg towards straight. Now, sense into your up slip, down slip of both sides of your pelvis. Likely the right side will be a little lifted here. Can you drop it down? Making the same little movement we were just doing with both our feet on the floor. A little descend of the right side, that you're bringing the knee in, that same side, and a little ascend of the left side towards your head. Now you might stay there. You could stretch out your leg towards straight. You could interlock your hands behind your hamstring, or feel free to grab your strap and loop your arch of your foot. And you can draw that in as much as you like. Your leg could be bent. And yet again, check in with the up slip, down slip movement of your pelvis, and can you drop your right sit bone, your right hip, and feel a little lengthening in the right side of your lower back, a little decompression around the right SI joint. Let's take the strap into just our right hand and let the leg come out to the side. Your elbow might touch the floor. Your left arm could go out to the side. Land and locate a couple breaths. Projecting out through your limbs. Let your leg come back to center, and you can switch hands so that you have your strap in your left hand and kick across your body. Some of you might go a little over and bounce your leg there. Some might come all the way onto the outside of the left foot and keep rolling your right foot across. Your right arm can open into a twist. Again, can you sense now the right SI joint region, the right hip? Can you slip that down as you slip the left side of your pelvis up, giving a little more level feeling to your sitting bones? Maybe a little more stretch to the lateral side of your leg. All the way up into the center. Let that leg go. And then plant your feet. And explore that up slip, down slip of your pelvis. So your pelvis doesn't come off the floor, and I'm just gonna show you here. It's a movement like this, down through one sit bone and up through the other. It's like you're walking in place. This is a really useful movement for bringing more symmetry to the bigger forms, starting with the micro movement and then letting it grow into the periphery. Then bring your left knee in towards you, straighten your right leg out, draw it in. Now, which side of your pelvis would you like to descend to level out your sit bones? Left side with the left knee coming in. Try to keep your low back a little close-ish to the floor. So the movement and the initiation of muscular action is in your hips instead of your low back. Yeah, you can straighten out your left leg any amount, interlock your hands behind your hamstring, or take your strap, or some of you might hold your foot there. Land and locate a few breaths. Can you reestablish that up, slip down through the left side, left leg up, a little up through the right side. strap or hand around the left foot, left hand holding. Take it out to the side. Can you ground the right side of your pelvis? The right side of your core? Leg into the center there, and you can switch your grip on your hands. Hi, Kate. We're just in our warm up, so then you can switch your hands so that your strap goes around your foot with your right hand holding it. It's your left foot comes across. Your left arm can come out to the side in a twist. You might bounce it there or keep turning with your outer right foot to the floor, your outer right hip. Your elbow might reach the floor. And then it's that top hip going down a bit. And the bottom hip sliding up towards your face. You can bring that leg all the way into the middle, unhook it, plant both of your feet, and your pelvis stays on the floor for this, but can you do a little heel rock? So you're kicking your heels into the floor like that, and your pelvis does a little wobble, up, down, up, down. And you might close your eyes and pick up the pace a little bit. Can you relax your hips? Can you relax your abdomen and pelvis? Any amount. And get the heel rock to happen a little bit more. And then stop and take a breath into all the nerve endings emanating from the sacrum. You can draw your knees in towards your chest here. Give yourself a hug. Wobble side to side. Kate, you might want 2 blocks and a strap for this practice. And we can roll over to the side. And I'm gonna face you for this part. You can come onto your knees if that feels okay, or feel free to sit cross-legged. I'm gonna show you this way, sitting on your knees. Take your arms up, interlock your forearms or your elbows, and bend a little to one side. Doesn't matter which one. Come up into the center and bend a little to the other side. Come up into the center. And we're gonna go to the left now. So left hand down, right arm up. Keep going a little with the bend. Yeah. Now, how would it feel to shift your shins, if you're in this position, to the right, and your left hip comes down onto the floor, and keep going with that bend? So your right hip is off the floor now. Keep going with that bend, yeah. And then you might take your elbow to the floor. Keep going, make a bit of space. It's okay if your right hip comes off the floor. And then bring your top right knee in towards you and hold onto it and hug in there. Can you slide your hand towards your ankle? And then kick your knee out. So it's like you're doing a little bow shape with your top leg. Kick your knee out. Keep leaning to the side. Keep stretching to the side. Let's come all the way up. So we're back in that hip shifted kneeling position, and slide your right leg out. Take your left leg into Janu Shirshasana, sole of the foot towards the inner thigh. Sit up on something if you need to. Interlock your hands behind the back of your head. And we're gonna push our legs down into the floor as you come a little down. Now use the hip strength to support your torso. You can come down as much as you like. Keep pushing your legs into the floor and then come on up. Now you can do that again, or you can let your arms go up, framing your face, and then go a little forwards and push your legs into the floor. Ground down through your lower body. Go as forwards as you want to. Hold it. And then come all the way back up. And then take your hands down to the floor and fold over your front right leg, any amount. You can let your head go, take a breath in, take a breath out. We'll come all the way up here and shift so that you are hands behind you, chest open, tippy toes to the floor. And get a bright chest here. Lift your shins halfway. You could straighten your legs into a navasana. Separate your feet shoulder distance, and then draw your knees and your shoulders towards each other, any amount. Maybe they come close with some compression there. And then come back to shins parallel or your navasana shape. Let's do that one more time. Separate your knees, draw in, see if your shoulders and your knees can almost touch, but keep length through your spine, resist the curl, it's a compression. And then come back to your navasana shape. Cross your legs, roll forwards, and we'll come back onto our knees for the other side. So we start on our knees, interlock elbows or forearms. Go a little to one side, come into the middle, go a little to the other, come into the middle. We're gonna go to the right. So right hand down, left arm reaches. Now, how would it feel to shift our shins to the left and our right hip comes to the floor? Asymmetrical in your hips. Keep going to the side. Maybe your elbow comes down. Make a bit of space. It's okay if your left hip comes off the floor. Bring your left knee in and hug it in with your left hand. Curl. Slide your hand to your lower shin or ankle and kick your leg back behind you in a bow shape. You could always use your strap for that, to lasso your foot. Come on up back into that asymmetrical kneeling shape and take your left foot forwards, right foot towards your inner leg. Hands behind the back of your head. Long through your spine, come halfway down, push your legs into the floor, hold it, press your head into your hands, and then come all the way up. Now you can do that again, or arms frame your face. Come halfway down, a little or a lot, push your legs into the floor. Feel the ball of energy in your hip joints, supporting your hip joints to push down. Come all the way up. And then your forward fold. Let it round a little bit. You can forward fold, you can let your head go. Take a breath. Come all the way up. We're gonna come onto our backs, so you can come onto your back, but could you find a loop in your strap? And I know some straps don't they don't lock very well. You could even tie a knot in it, but I'm gonna make a loop in my strap so that it locks. And feel free to just tie a big overhand knot in it. But I want that to be wide enough that I can put both my upper legs in it. And then cinch it so that it's no wider than my hips around the upper leg. Also keep a block nearby when you lie down. So take your time to come on down and have that strap around your upper legs. And if you've tied an overhand in it or you have the strap well around your upper legs, can you land and push out into the strap a little? Push out into the strap. So you could feel some engagement around the lateral part of your hips. See how that feels on the back of your pelvis to push out. Does it feel comforting? Does it feel stabilizing? This is compressing around your SI joints just a little. And you could do those little up slip, down slip movements. So left hip away from you, right hip towards you, like you're walking in place. And other way. And I want you to close your eyes and just do this like micro. Like really almost sneakily, that if someone's watching you, they would see like not much is going on there. And then relax that. If you didn't get a chance to really get that in your body, do it one more time. So push out a little bit. And then your sitting bones, just everything stays on the ground. So no lifting of the hips, but little shifting, up slip, down slip, left to right, like you're walking in place. Then stop and relax the effort. Land and locate in your pelvis. You could find that breathing ball expanding, dilating, nourishing your hips and low back. And however makes sense, like you could roll to the side and take the strap off of you. And now block. Block goes in between your knees or your upper legs, and then just a little squeeze of it. Just a little squeeze into the midline with your inner legs. Now you can close your eyes here and feel, what does this do? Does it feel comforting? Does it feel unsettling? Do you want to take the block out? Do you feel consolidated? Close your eyes and you might notice that there's a bit of a spread around your SI joints here when you do this. There's an opening across the back of the pelvis as you squeeze into the inner legs. And could you do those little micro movements if you like? Like if someone was watching you, they wouldn't see what you're doing. It's a secret. Little shifting of the sitting bones. Up slip, down slip. And then stop. And release the squeeze, take the block out. And then you can let your knees fall to one side and then the other. Windshield wipers. Last posture here, you can take a block and place it on its medium, maybe its low level, in between your shoulder blades. So lower down so that we land that in between our shoulder blades. You might want your second block for your head. You might want your head to touch the floor, up to you if you want that cervical curve. And your arms could be out to the side or they could be over your head. Your feet could be planted or you could stretch your legs towards straight. And we'll take 5 breaths with this bit of a chest lifted position. 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially pressing your legs down into the earth. 5, and you could take your hands behind the back of your head if it's on the ground. Lift it up. Lean over to the side, take the block out. Draw your knees in towards your chest, give yourself a hug. And any little movements you would like to do. Some of you might like to close your practice with a twist, a shoulder stand. You get to find those last little movements. And when you land in your final relaxation, you could put your hands on your low belly. You could outstretch your legs or keep them planted, but can you locate the ball of breath? The juicy, feel good ball in between your belly button and your sacrum. Maybe the ball opens with your breath so that it hugs your low back. It nourishes your hip joints. And it glows around your creative center here, your Svadhisthana chakra. This area where we're pregnant with creativity, whatever that is for you. Let your breath ball be a 5 count in, 5 count out. We'll do 5 breaths like that in silence, perhaps gently lengthening the breath cycle. And you're welcome to stay here a little longer. You might start to make some little movements, slow little wake up movements, sensing into this miracle of aliveness, this vibration of breath. You could stretch your arms, point your toes, arch your back. Maybe roll to one side. And take your time to come up. Closing your practice, you could have your hands on your body or at your heart, and you might close your eyes and acknowledge that you are doing the work of showing up for yourself so that you can be there for others in any way that you can. Peace. Shanti.